Hey guys, great to be back. So today I want to follow up on the idea of that purity of heart, because I saw like a documentary on ARTE, what is in Germany, in Europe, kind of the channel 13 that you have in America, and it was about the state of the ocean, and in a way that kind of pissed me off because it's just crazy what's happening. So, welcome to another vlog post. So, as I mentioned, I saw this documentary on ARTE, what is kind of the channel 13 in Germany. And it was basically about the ocean and about the state of the ocean today. Part was about this woman that swims with sharks and what's going on with killing sharks for shark fin soup. And another part was about the plastic in the ocean that we've all heard about seabirds. The chicks are fed with plastic, so a lot of them die because obviously they have these big plastic pieces in their stomach. And it made me really sad, really sad. I mean, extremely sad, because I'm a big fan of the ocean. I've always been. And when I was 16, I started scuba diving already, and I've been to many places in the world, to the Great Barrier Reef, to Borneo, and there was always a great love that connected me to the ocean. I think in my ideal life, how I envision it, I probably would have been like a marine biologist. I was a big fan of Hans Haas, who was like one of the first people who went diving, as well as Jacques Cousteau. But just to see what's happening is heartbreaking in a way. And I only can imagine, and that also applies to me, that we were able to let all this happen because we completely connected from our hearts. Nobody said, "This is crazy, we have to stop this." I didn't say it either. So nobody said anything, and we just kept on going. And it's so brutal and so cruel and so... yeah, it's so crazy. It's so self-destructive that I don't even know what to say. Besides that, I'm really upset about myself, even that I, let it happen in a way, because we all let it happen. We also get used to it, I think. I mean, from a state of innocence, when you get to the state where we are now, a lot of people would say, "Wow, this is crazy. That's insane." But we're just used to it. We think, "Oh well, it's just how it is." And then after watching this, I was also researching a little bit, because this happens everywhere. I mean, soon the oceans, the whole ecosystem will collapse because it's overfished, it's poisoned with plastic and other stuff. I mean, England was throwing their atomic waste into the ocean until the 70s or 80s even. And that reminds me, when I was on the sailing ship, when we crossed the Atlantic, back then, Germany already was really into recycling. So we collected all the trash while we were crossing the Atlantic. Every little piece of it, the glass, even glass. We had this compounder somehow, just compound the trash. So when we got to Puerto Rico, I was one of the lucky ones. I think they selected 20 guys to bring the trash off the ship, and it was in plastic bags, but all the broken glass was in there too. So after like half an hour, there were only 5 guys left because the rest of them had to get stitched up because we really did hurt ourselves putting those heavy bags on our shoulders and having these glass pieces in them. And we put it all in a dumpster. And then they told us like 2 weeks later, guess what they did with the dumpster? Put it on a boat, went out, and they dumped it into the ocean. That's what they do. Bye-bye. It is so brutal, it's so cruel, and then I did some research on, since I'm in Germany. And I know Germany is, when it comes to pigs, the third biggest producer of meat in the world. Germany has a population of 80 million people. And in Germany, they slaughter 55 million pigs in 1 year. So much suffering, so much cruelty, just because, the consumer wants to have cheap meat. And why is that? Because we are all disconnected. If we wouldn't be disconnected, we would say, look, that's not cool. At least if we eat them, they should have a good life. That's what the heart would say, definitely. But it's disconnected. It's only the head. The head says, I want cheap meat. The ego doesn't care. Just animals, just pigs. Who cares? So then when you start, thinking about these things, you do some more research, what you shouldn't do, because it gets really depressing in a way. And I found the following numbers. So unfortunately, this is a kind of a depressing, to me, very depressing post. And I guess you can see that I'm kind of sad about this. Really, really sad. Because it's just not, it's not fair. It's not the way to treat anything. So, anyway. So in Germany alone, on a day like today, I don't even know if they might work on weekends as well, because I guess, killing is a full-time job. So in Germany, in 2019, on one day alone, they slaughtered 1.7 million chickens, 151,219 pigs, 93,770 turkeys, 43,497 ducks, then 9,348 cows, sheep and lamb, 3,149, goats, 68, and 14 horses. So that sums up to about 2 million animals a day slaughtered. And I really can only agree with Tolstoy, who said, as long as there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields. Because how can we expect to treat each other with love and compassion if we don't do this with animals? And everybody's just losing. People who work in these slaughterhouses are losing. Or do you think that doesn't do anything to your emotional state of being? When I was in the Navy, I had a few guys that worked in slaughterhouses who were also on board. And there was this one kid, Dreier. I still, remember him very vividly. He was really strange. And he was bullied quite a bit, and looking back, sometimes I feel I didn't really take part, but I didn't prevent it enough, I think. And he told me just stories. He said, stories that I will not repeat here, because he said, look, you have to kill, they have a certain number of animals that they have to kill per day. And sometimes then, obviously, the cows and whatever he killed there were not that cooperative sometimes, because they probably weren't so happy about being slaughtered. So then he said, you just start beating them, into submission. Because you have that, you have to reach that number, because otherwise you get fired. Now with Corona, in Germany, it was this big issue that a lot of people got Corona. in those slaughterhouses because they work in close proximity, and they're underpaid because a lot of them come from Eastern Europe. So it's abuse on all sides. The animals get abused, the people who work there get abused. I really think we create bad karma with this. I mean, how can we expect to treat each other differently if we treat animals like that? It will never happen. Forget it. If there's not like a rise of consciousness, and maybe we deserve Corona. Honestly, I think maybe we just deserve, and we needed something to wake up, because it is definitely karma that you create doing this meat production, and eventually karma catches up with you. And it's kind of amazing that it took so long. And that's why, I think it's so important to connect to our hearts again, because when you connect to your heart, you would say, no, I can't support this anymore. It really hit me hard, and it just makes me very sad. Because you know all this stuff, but you push it away, and you just go along. But going along also means you're doing it as well. So it's really sad. Imagine the pain and suffering. I mean, in the country like Germany, with 2 million slaughtered animals a day. I mean, that pain and that suffering, don't believe nothing happens to it. It is here. It's in the consciousness, in the ether, in the energy that connects everything. I think that's why it's so important to see that we are not only just a body, that we are also spiritual beings, and we're connected to each other and to everything around us. And there's a lot of suffering. I mean, 2 million a day. That's crazy. I mean, I knew that it was a lot, but I had no idea it was that much. Nobody wins. Besides, that you have a cheap schnitzel. Okay. What can I say? Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.